Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Hope all is well. We have an opportunity to improve our relationship with our Creator. And there's a simple technique to do this, and it starts off by basically, we have to make ourselves aware of the fact that every situation that we find ourselves in is a message to us from our beautiful Creator, from Hashem. Baal Shem Tov, he made the holy statement. He said, a leaf doesn't fall from a tree without divine providence, without Hashgacha Pratis, without Hashem's complete involvement. How much more so if a leaf falling from the tree is completely from Hashem's godly intervention? How much more so the situations that we find ourselves in? They're obviously seemingly more serious situations than a leaf falling from a tree. So we have to realize that while Hashem is completely beyond the physical and He's not limited to the physical, He also reveals Himself to us through the physicality. The physicality, also, whatever goes on in this physical world is a mashal, is an analogy for what's going on above. Therefore, we always can turn to the example of a parent and a child. When the parent sees the child, they have love. They have so much love for this child that there's an overwhelming feeling of love and obsession that the parent has with the child. We can use this analogy to appreciate how much more love and obsession Hashem has with us. Because if a physical person can have so much overwhelming emotion for another person, how much more so Hashem, who's completely beyond the physical, who has no limitations, how much more so does He feel about us in that way? And we know that in Torah there's the light and the vessels, the or and the kelim. The Torah comes into this world. Torah is completely above the world. The Torah is completely one with Hashem. The beautiful thing about the Torah is it permeates the physical as well. The Torah is the intermediary between the infinite and the finite, because as we've spoken about it in previous videos, the Torah talks about completely godly ideas, but it also permeates even the physicality. So we do physical things. I'm wearing a physical kippah. I have a physical beard, which is physical. These are ways of serving Hashem in physical ways, but they're rooted from spirituality. So we see that the Torah, what's extremely interesting about the Torah, which was given to us at Mount Sinai, where the world prior to the Torah, it didn't have this dimension to it, where spirituality permeates and transforms the physicality. And that's actually the highest level, because as you know, this world is more interesting, more important to Hashem than any of the spiritual worlds above. Because the spiritual worlds above, the beings don't give anything back to Hashem, so to speak. They're there and they're experiencing Hashem's revelation. They're at a very high level, these angels and souls in these heavenly spheres, to say the least. They're at an unbelievably high level spiritually. But they don't give anything back to Hashem. They don't transform anything. Whereas human beings, us, man and women in this physical world, we have the ability to use physical things and use them for spiritual purposes, thus transforming them. For example, we see this is tefillin. This right here is tefillin. We see right here. This is the tefillin that every morning we wrap on our arms, that we've been commanded by Hashem. So this is a piece of leather. We're talking about a piece of leather right here, and yet, what do we put inside it? We put inside it a scroll with Bible verses, certain Bible verses, and then we wrap it upon our arm. So these are all physical things. Bible verses on a scroll in a leather compartment wrapped upon my physical arm. But yet this is a completely godly experience, a spiritual experience. Why is that? Because when the Torah was given to the world, when Hashem gave the Torah to us, Hashem introduced this new dimension to the world where physicality can become spiritual. And obviously when physicality becomes spiritual, it's a much higher level than just spirituality, because there was no transformation. Whereas when we take something physical and we transform it, it brings down new godly revelations into the world. And that's actually what Hashem is most interested in. And that's how we can see that the Torah is the intermediate, the memutza, the portal, so to speak, between what's above and below. How is that? Because the Torah, what's an intermediary, has aspects of above and aspects of below. The Torah has obviously, you could learn Torah and you could talk about completely spiritual ideas like angels and higher dimensions and the soul, the journey of the soul, different levels of the soul. Then you could also talk about positive commandments, a positive commandment that you have to perform, whatever it may be, whether it be making kiddush on the wine, the blessings of the wine, or whether it may be giving charity. These are all physical things, but as we know, the physicality has the ability to house within it spirituality. We're able to use our physical existence for spiritual purposes. That's what's most interesting to Hashem. So too, whenever we're learning Torah, our teachers may give us an analogy, we have to appreciate the analogy, but we have to also tap into the light that's within the analogy. For example, it's very, 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 very real. Of course, the analogy is always with the parent and the child. It's one of the most popular analogies in Chassidus. The amount that the parent loves the child is unbelievable. And when you have a love for another human being, this love, there's this energy here. And you have to realize that this energy it's from an even higher source than what you're experiencing. You're experiencing a relationship with another person, and it arouses within you a love for this person, or concern for this person, or excitement to be around this person, whatever it may be. But this energy is coming from a much higher purpose, and you have to realize that this relationship you're having is only an analogy for what's going on above. So we have to always use our godly experiences to add to our relationship with Hashem. So let's say you have an incredible amount of love for, let's say, your cousin. Your cousin's an amazing person, he helps you with everything, and you just feel a tremendous love for them. So you have to say, wow, this person is revealing God. They are reflecting godliness within their life, because they're giving me a lot of kindness, they're doing good deeds for me. They're revealing God in the world. And the reason why I'm feeling this way towards this person is because I'm really feeling this way towards Hashem. And this person is reflecting Hashem. Through that, we bring Hashem into our life in a very practical, a very real way, a very simple way. We're not talking about all these deep levels of meditation, but we're bringing it into the very deep, all the fine details of our lives. And this is something that can greatly improve our lives at every moment. And with these analogies, we'll be able to connect to the Creator. It's also important that we never become satisfied with where we're at, and we have to always appreciate the fact that wherever we're experiencing right now is only a drop of what's to come. And with that allows us to get excited, because it's interesting, we learn in Chassidus that the higher one becomes in their grasping of godliness, the more someone delves into the Torah, the higher they get in their grasp of God, so to speak, grasp of godliness. The more they realize they're only grasping a drop, meaning the more they know, the more they realize they don't know. So it's a constant pleasure, it's a constant delight. How much more pleasure must it be causing Hashem? Of course, when we show concern for our fellows, that's one of the deepest levels. When we arouse within ourselves to feel concern for our fellow, to care for our fellow, and to feel our fellow's pain, that is single-handedly one of the greatest ways to reveal God in this world, because Hashem is the merciful one. Hashem is the empathetic one. So when we show empathy with our fellow, we are emulating the Creator, and we're bringing Hashem into this world, and we also arouse an even greater empathy upon that person from Hashem. And these are very practical ways to bring Hashem into our lives. And another great example of this is from the Baal Shem Tov, that when a person fears something that's not Hashem, God forbid, whatever a person may fear, a person should then take that fear and say, wow, if I have fear of this simple object, or whatever it may be, I have fear of this situation, and it's nothing, how much more so should I feel fear for Hashem? And how much more so should I not have any fear of this thing in and of itself? I only should fear Hashem. So it's a way to catapult yourself, to take this fear that you may fear of some random thing and channel it towards Hashem and say, really the only one I should be fearing is Hashem, because He's in control. And then you elevate that fear, so to speak, because it's not a healthy thing to fear anything other than Hashem. If a person finds himself fearing something other than Hashem, he should channel that fear towards Hashem, and all of a sudden he has a renewed relationship with Hashem. It's a very deep level, and we should all practice it. May we all be successful in our missions. May today be the day when Moshiach comes, and the secrets of the Torah are revealed to the world, and we experience Hashem Himself revealed in this world. God bless you all.